Someone is about to confess their feelings for you, and when they finally do, you may realize that the signs were there all along. My beloved child, pause for a moment. Do not rush past this message. There is something moving quietly behind the scenes of your life. Something you may not be able to see yet, something that has been growing in another person's heart while you have been busy trying to understand your own journey. Someone has feelings for you. Not a passing attraction. Not a temporary curiosity. Not simply admiration from a distance. There is a person who has been carrying words inside their heart that they have been afraid to release. They have rehearsed conversations with you in their mind. They have imagined what would happen if they finally told you the truth. They have wondered whether you would smile, become silent, walk away, or look at them with the same emotion they have been desperately trying to hide. And the strange part is this. You may already know who this person is. Perhaps you have suspected it. Perhaps you have felt something unusual whenever this person entered the room. Perhaps there have been moments when their eyes remained on you for 1 second longer than they should have. Perhaps they suddenly became quiet when you approached. Perhaps they found reasons to talk to you even when there was nothing important to discuss. Perhaps they remembered tiny details about you that nobody else remembered. Or perhaps this person has been so good at hiding their feelings that you convinced yourself there was nothing there. But something is changing. The silence is becoming difficult for them to maintain. The feelings have reached a point where pretending has become more painful than confessing. And that is why you may soon hear something you never expected. My feelings for you are real. Those words may arrive differently than you imagine. They may come through a message. A phone call. A late-night conversation. A sudden meeting. A carefully written paragraph. A nervous confession. Or perhaps through a conversation that begins casually and unexpectedly turns deeply personal. But before that happens, understand something important. This is not merely about someone saying, "I like you." This is about someone finally admitting what they have been fighting internally. Because there are people who can hide attraction. There are people who can hide jealousy. There are people who can hide curiosity. But it becomes much harder to hide emotional attachment. And this person has become attached to you. They have noticed your absence. They have noticed your silence. They have noticed when your energy changed. They have noticed when you stopped giving them the same attention. They have noticed when you became distant. And perhaps your distance affected them more than you ever realized. You thought you were simply protecting your peace. They interpreted it as losing access to you. You thought you were simply becoming stronger. They interpreted it as you moving on. You thought nobody noticed your change. They noticed. That is what shocked them. You changed without announcing your change. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped chasing answers. You stopped trying to force conversations. You stopped asking why someone behaved differently. And when you stopped pursuing clarity, something happened inside this person. They began asking themselves questions. Did I wait too long? Does this person still care about me? Have I already lost my chance? What if someone else realizes their value before I do? What if they meet somebody who gives them everything I was too afraid to give? Those questions have been disturbing their peace. Because there is something about you that they cannot replace easily. They may have tried. They may have distracted themselves. They may have talked to other people. They may have convinced themselves that their feelings were temporary. They may have even told themselves that you were simply someone they enjoyed being around. But every time they tried to move their attention elsewhere, something brought their mind back to you. A song. A location. A photograph. A familiar phrase. A random memory. A notification. A conversation. Even something as insignificant as seeing a person wearing the same perfume or clothing style could suddenly remind them of you. That is how deeply you entered their emotional world. And perhaps you never realized it. Because they did not show you the entire truth. They showed you fragments. A look here. A smile there. A message that seemed ordinary. A question that sounded casual. A moment of unusual concern. A little jealousy they quickly disguised as a joke. A compliment they immediately tried to take back. A conversation that suddenly became awkward because their emotions became too obvious. You may have wondered. Why do they act like this? Now you may understand. They were trying to control something they did not know how to explain. They were trying to maintain the appearance of normality while their heart was becoming anything but normal. And the confession coming toward you may shock you because it could reveal that many moments you considered meaningless actually meant something to them. There was a reason they remembered. There was a reason they watched. There was a reason they returned. There was a reason they became nervous. There was a reason they sometimes disappeared. And that reason may not have been lack of interest. It may have been fear. Fear can make people behave strangely. When someone cares deeply, they become vulnerable. And vulnerability terrifies people who have been hurt before. This person may have experienced disappointment. They may have trusted someone and regretted it. They may have opened their heart once and been rejected. They may have watched a relationship collapse. They may have grown up believing that emotions should be controlled rather than expressed. So when they developed feelings for you, their first instinct was not to confess. Their first instinct was to hide. They told themselves, "Wait. Don't say anything. Maybe it will pass. Don't become too attached. Don't make this complicated." But feelings do not always disappear simply because someone commands them to. Sometimes the heart becomes louder when the mouth becomes quieter. And their heart has become loud. Very loud. You may soon notice a change in their behavior. They may become more direct. They may initiate conversations more often. They may ask questions about your life. They may want to know whether you are seeing someone. They may suddenly become interested in your plans. They may ask where you are going. They may ask what kind of person you want. They may casually bring up relationships just to see how you respond. And if you answer that you are not interested in anyone, watch what happens. Their reaction may reveal more than their words. Because they have been searching for an opening. Not an opportunity to manipulate you. An opportunity to finally tell the truth. They want to know whether there is still space for them in your life. That is why this confession may come after a period of silence. Silence has been teaching them something. It has been teaching them that you are not guaranteed. You are not waiting forever. You are not going to chase someone indefinitely. You have your own path. Your own dignity. Your own life. And perhaps that realization awakened something inside them. Sometimes people understand your value only after they experience your absence. They don't realize how much light you bring until the room becomes quiet. They don't realize how comforting your presence is until they cannot reach you. They don't realize how deeply your words affected them until they no longer hear them. And this person may now be sitting with that realization. They may be thinking about conversations you had months ago. Words you said casually. Advice you gave without expecting anything in return. The way you listened. The way you remembered things. The way you treated them when they were struggling. The way you made them laugh without trying. The way you could somehow notice when they were pretending to be okay. Those details became memories. And memories became attachment. Attachment became longing. Longing became fear. And fear is now pushing them toward honesty. This is why the confession may arrive unexpectedly. You may be doing something completely ordinary when it happens. You may be checking your phone. Walking somewhere. Working. Relaxing. Preparing for sleep. And suddenly their name may appear. You may stare at the screen. You may hesitate before opening the message. And when you finally do, the tone may feel different. Not casual. Not playful. Not ordinary. Serious. They may say, "I need to tell you something." And immediately, your heart may begin asking questions. What happened? Is everything okay? Why are they talking like this? Then comes the sentence that changes everything. I've been keeping something from you. You may think it is bad news. You may prepare yourself for disappointment. But then they continue. I don't know how to say this. And suddenly the entire conversation changes. Because they are not preparing to leave. They are preparing to reveal. They may tell you that they have thought about you more than they should. That they tried to suppress it. That they did not want to make things uncomfortable. That they were afraid of ruining the connection. That they were terrified you would not feel the same. And finally, I have feelings for you. Those words can be simple. But sometimes simple words carry years of emotion. And when you hear them, you may remember every strange moment. Every pause. Every glance. Every unexplained disappearance. Every time they acted like they didn't care. Every time they came back. Everything may suddenly make sense. But there is another reason this confession may shock you. You may not have expected it from this particular person. Maybe you thought they were only a friend. Maybe you thought they were emotionally unavailable. Maybe you thought they were interested in somebody else. Maybe they acted so indifferent that you completely removed them from your possibilities. Perhaps you even told yourself, they would never feel that way about me. And that is exactly why the truth may hit harder. Sometimes the person hiding the deepest feelings is the person who appears the least affected. They learned how to hide emotion behind confidence, behind humor, behind busyness, behind distance, behind sarcasm, behind silence. But hiding emotion does not mean there is no emotion. And this person has been fighting a private battle. One part of them wants to come closer. Another part tells them to protect themselves. One part wants to say your name. Another part tells them to remain silent. One part imagines a future with you. Another part reminds them of every reason it could fail. That internal conflict has exhausted them. They are tired of pretending. Tired of wondering. Tired of interpreting every interaction. Tired of asking themselves whether you feel something too. And now they want an answer. But there is something you must understand. You do not owe anyone a particular response. If this confession comes, listen carefully. Do not let excitement force you into a decision. Do not let surprise make you promise something you are not ready to give. Let the truth breathe. Ask questions. Understand intentions. Observe consistency. Because a confession is meaningful, but actions after the confession matter even more. Someone can say beautiful words, but real feelings reveal themselves through behavior. If they truly care, they will respect your boundaries. They will not pressure you. They will not demand an immediate answer. They will not punish you for needing time. They will not manipulate your emotions. They will show patience. They will show honesty. They will show consistency. And perhaps this is what makes the upcoming revelation so powerful. It may not simply expose how someone feels. It may expose who they really are. The person who has been hiding behind silence may finally remove the mask. And you will see them differently. You may discover that their confidence was nervousness. Their distance was fear. Their silence was uncertainty. Their teasing was affection. Their questions were curiosity. Their jealousy was attachment. Their repeated return was longing. And suddenly you may realize. They were trying to tell me without actually telling me. But there is something even deeper. Perhaps you have been waiting for someone to choose you. Perhaps you have spent too much time wondering whether you were enough. Perhaps you have experienced situations where you gave more than you received. Perhaps you became tired of guessing. And now life is placing you in a position where someone else must finally speak. You don't have to chase. You don't have to convince. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to beg for clarity. Let them speak. Let them reveal themselves. Let their actions answer the questions you have carried. Because sometimes the greatest change happens when you stop demanding an answer and allow the truth to come toward you. This person may have been watching you grow from a distance. They saw you become stronger. They saw you change. They saw you become less dependent on external validation. And instead of making them forget you, your independence made them admire you more. They realized you don't need someone to complete you. You want someone who can walk beside you. That difference matters. You are not looking for somebody to rescue you. You are looking for somebody who understands you. And this person may finally understand that. They may have spent time thinking about what it would feel like to stand beside you openly instead of secretly caring about you. They may have imagined introducing you to people in their life. They may have imagined ordinary things. Not fantasy. Not perfection. Ordinary life. Sharing meals. Talking late at night. Laughing over something ridiculous. Supporting each other's goals. Being there on difficult days. Celebrating small victories. Having someone to call when the world becomes overwhelming. That is what scares them. Because when feelings become real, the possibility of losing becomes real too. And they are afraid. They are afraid that once they confess, everything could change. Maybe you will reject them. Maybe you will distance yourself. Maybe the friendship will become uncomfortable. Maybe you will tell someone else. Maybe they will lose the connection they already have. That fear has kept them silent. But silence has become heavier than rejection. And that is why they are preparing themselves. They may not deliver a perfect confession. Their hands may shake. Their words may become messy. They may laugh nervously. They may change the subject twice before finally saying it. They may start with, "There's something I've wanted to tell you for a long time." Then stop. Then breathe. Then try again. Because sometimes courage doesn't look powerful. Sometimes courage looks like a trembling voice finally telling the truth. And when they speak, don't only listen to the sentence. Listen to everything behind it. Listen to the hesitation. Listen to the vulnerability. Listen to what they are finally admitting. They may tell you they have missed you. They may tell you they think about you before sleeping. They may tell you they have reread old conversations. They may tell you they become jealous when someone else gets close to you. They may tell you they tried to convince themselves that you were only a friend. And they may admit that it stopped working. That confession could be the moment you understand that you were never imagining the connection. You simply didn't have the complete story. And there is another possibility. The confession may come from someone you already suspected, but the reason behind their feelings will shock you. Perhaps they don't simply admire your appearance. They admire your character. They admire how you survived things nobody saw. They admire how you kept going when you were exhausted. They admire the way you care without announcing it. They admire your ability to make people feel seen. They admire the parts of you that you criticize. The imperfections you hide may be the very things they find beautiful. The scars you consider weaknesses may represent strength to them. The moments you think made you less lovable may be the moments that made them feel closer to you. They don't necessarily love the image you show everyone. They may be attached to the version of you that appears when you stop pretending. The tired version. The honest version. The quiet version. The silly version. The emotional version. The ambitious version. The uncertain version. The real version. And perhaps that is why they have been unable to walk away. Because they saw something authentic. Something rare. Something they cannot easily explain. You may have wondered why they kept returning after periods of distance. Now you may understand. There was unfinished emotion. There were words they had not said. There was a truth they had not faced. And eventually, unspoken truth demands a voice. That voice may be coming soon. So prepare yourself, not for a perfect romantic scene, but for honesty. The confession may happen in an ordinary moment. And ordinary moments can become unforgettable. A simple message can change the direction of a relationship. A single sentence can transform years of uncertainty. A conversation can close an old chapter and open an entirely different one. But remember this. Do not romanticize confusion. Do not excuse disrespect simply because someone says they love you. Do not accept inconsistency because the confession sounds beautiful. Love should not require you to abandon your self-respect. If this person truly means what they say, their confession will be followed by responsibility. They will not simply tell you what you want to hear. They will show you that their words have weight. And if they are sincere, you will feel the difference. There will be less guessing. Less uncertainty. More clarity. More communication. More effort. More honesty. And perhaps the biggest surprise will not be that someone loves you. Perhaps the biggest surprise will be realizing that you were worthy of being loved all along. You were simply waiting for someone brave enough to say it. Maybe this is why the timing feels strange. Maybe you thought your romantic life was becoming quiet. Maybe you stopped expecting anything. Maybe you told yourself, if someone wants me, they will make it clear. And now someone is preparing to make it clear. Not because you chased them. Not because you begged. Not because you forced the situation. But because their own feelings have reached the point where hiding is no longer possible.